Current lightweight king, the successor to the most dominant champion, a fighter known as the most prolific finisher in the history of the company. This man is known as the most dangerous grappler in the UFC, only winning 10% of his 40 fights by decision. This Brazilian standout goes by the name Charles Oliveira. Oliveira's professional record is 31 wins, 8 losses, and 1 no contest. His fighting style can only be described as well-rounded, as he boasts a lethal grappling skill set, affinity for the Muay Thai clinch, and a stand-up style that can be described as tight and technical boxing mixed with wild and exciting kicking. After beginning jiu-jitsu at the age of 12, Oliveira started his professional MMA career in 2008 when he fought and beat 3 men in one night. After his first night of fights, Charles continued on a streak of knockouts and submissions to bring his record to 12-0. He did all of this while living in absolute squalor. A local news network in his native city of Guará, Brazil, interviewed him prior to his UFC signing and gave an insight on his personal life.
Família comer aqui, onde que minha mãe prepara a comida da gente, a cozinha, junto com o banheiro é um pouquinho pequenininho, mas dá pra gente. Agora aqui, o meu quarto, tipo assim, a maioria das coisas que tem aqui, eu consegui comprar com o dinheiro das minhas lutas que eu ganhei, meu pai e minha mãe ajudando.
After improving to 12-0, the UFC matchmakers decided to give him the opportunity to fight against Darren Elkins. Oliveira made the most of his debut, locking up a submission of the night bonus and replacing an injured Matt Wyman to fight Efrain Escudero just 1 month later. Fresh off of scoring $100,000 in bonuses in his last 2 fights, Oliveira rode the momentum to fight Jim Miller, a step up to see if he belonged in the title picture. In a twist of irony, Jim Miller handed him his first loss by submission. Charles's next 2 fights were disappointing as he suffered a no contest after illegally kneeing Nick Lentz and getting knocked out by Cowboy Cerrone. However, as the MMA media was willing to write him off, Bronx scored the first calf slicer win in UFC history and followed it up with yet another submission. When he received another step up in competition, Oliveira fought Cub Swanson. His weird KO loss gave him the reputation of being a quitter, and after losing to Frankie Edgar, the reputation of a frontrunner. After picking himself up by the bootstraps, Oliveira rattled off 4 straight wins, with 4 fight night bonuses, and was matched up in another fight that would put him in title contention against Max Holloway. Bronx suffered a micro tear in his esophagus, but the public had deemed him a quitter yet again after he was unable to take down Max Holloway. Oliveira later suffered back-to-back guillotine losses and decided it was time to make a change. In 12 UFC fights at featherweight, Oliveira missed weight 4 times. As a result of this, he was forced to move up to lightweight. At this point, Oliveira had become known as an exciting fighter that would fold when things weren't going his way. That was accentuated when he fought Paul Felder and tapped to strikes. Refusing to allow himself to go down as the prospect that never was, Oliveira returned 6 months later looking renewed. His next 8 fights were displays of dominance, as Oliveira rattled off 7 impressive finishes before dominating Tony Ferguson over 3 rounds. With the retirement of the lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov and the trilogy taking place between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, Bronx had to face Michael Chandler for the UFC lightweight title. Chandler came out hot and was close to finishing Oliveira, the same Oliveira that would quit in the face of adversity.
If he can't impose his will on you, he looks at you and decides, okay, I'm done.
Eu
go back in his career and you go, oh, well, this guy's not the greatest.
But do Bronx decided to rewrite his history. In a spectacular display of championship mettle, Oliveira knocked out Michael Chandler, setting the UFC finish record and joining a long line of Brazilian UFC champions, entrenching himself in the history books of this wild, wild sport.